Hello, good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to uppr90plus. I'm your host, GB. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Mine was fantastic. Got to see a ton of football this weekend, man. It was awesome, awesome, awesome. So tonight we're going to delve into some more teaching and coaching and learning and just touching base on a position that is definitely uh, one of my favorite positions, being on the left side of midfield. Love the right side as well, but the left side is a very unique side because you're going against a right-footed defender the majority of the time, right? So normally you have a left-footed player going against a right-footed player. Nowadays, you have normally now a right-footed midfielder is what the occurrences are now, going against a right-footed fullback. That way, that right-footed player can cut inside and dominate the ball and possession as well. Back in the day, it was always a left-footed player normally, but nowadays it's a right-footed player, which is very advantageous for the player who's right-footed because if you're left-footed only and you're going left, now you're pushed against the byline as far as the sideline, and you cannot maneuver and go around because now you're at a disadvantage because technically you only have a left foot on the left side. So being a right-footed player, you can be able to cut in. We talked about central midfield last week with my friend Zaga. The week before that, we did a coaching for the right side. So now we're going to do a coaching on the left side. All right, so let's get into it. You should always be between the goal and your opponent. So, I mean, basic football 101, right? Between the goal and your opponent. When you are attacking, defending, whatever which way it is, if you have to track back or, we'll get into that as well. But the main thing here is defensively, you want to be in between the goal and your opponent. Next, you have to also cover the outside backs if they get beat or are in the attack. So if you are outside midfielder on the left side, you have a left wing back normally that comes down behind you, or you might actually be the wing back as well. Well, you guys are interchangeable. Nowadays in football, as we've always taught you here, you need to know every position. So a left fullback can also play left midfield, can also be a winger as well. Nowadays, the more you can affect the game, the more playing time, of course, you're going to get, right? These guys are getting lucrative deals now because they can play many positions. It's not just a matter of just being in one position when it comes to the outside attacking players as well as a wing back. So players that are on the left side, you're progressing through. You need to cover the outside backs when they go up and attack. As they're running past you to support the forward line, you need to recognize that and see, okay, if he's passing me, who's behind him? And again, back to looking around, using your head on a swivel, you can see if his man is going with him as he's running through. If he's not, then you need to drop back and make sure that you can cover that man and get to him before you fully go on into the attack. If you're seeing an advantage, then you need to go ahead and just progress through and go ahead and support the outside back that's flowing down with you. If you don't see that, then of course now you want to trap back and mark a man, right? So let's get into the communication as far as you have to understand when to push up, when to get back, when to defend in space, and when to mark tightly. So as I stated, pushing up, recognize that you have an advantage on your side of the pitch. All right. So we talked about this many times. Football is just not using your feet, juggling a ball, doing keepy ups and things like that. It's a mental game, right? And every aspect of your game starts here mentally with your positioning on the pitch and how you can affect the game for your team to give your team an advantage as well as your players. Second, to give yourself an advantage against a player, right? So understand when to push up, understand when to get back, Now, as far as tracking back, if you're in the attacking third of the field, if you're up in an 18-yard box, you are a box-to-box player is what they call it. Box meaning 18-yard box to the other 18-yard box. That is normally the space that you're in. The forward is usually into the box and go in. You might occasionally do that, but normally the forwards are in the box doing that. You are a box-to-box player. All right, so let's get the verbiage down here. Box-to-box, 18-yard line to the other 18-yard line. Okay, that is your pitch. Okay, yes, you start off on the left side. If you have to help out in the middle because the center midfielder has gone up in attack and you need to drift over, you need to recognize that as well. Again, back to head on a swivel, looking around. And in your mind, when your team is attacking, you should be thinking two things. Do I need to push up or do I need to stay back and recognize that there's someone else on their team that can start an attack against your team? And you need to shut that down before that even takes place, right? Defending in space. Twofold here. Defending when you don't have the ball, defending when you do have the ball, right? And hear me out now when I say defending when you have the ball. Defending meaning keeping possession of the ball, using your body to keep the ball when you're in a tight space. Because if there's two men now coming towards you, as we talked about before, that means one of your players is open. Pass the ball. You're taking on two men? Well, guess what? If you lose that, two of their players are now heading towards the other direction, and now they have an advantage because you didn't feel like passing the ball, right? So as we always say here, pass the ball. You're faster going down the pitch when you're passing. Especially I love when there's two players that come towards me because I'm a give and go person. I like to give the ball, get around those two players, and my teammates always recognize that. If I give them the ball and I'm running around that player, they're going to give it right back to me. Why take on two players and lose it when you now have them on a position? Now you can attack and go straight around, right? Okay, so defend in space, marking tightly. Now, when I mean marking, as I said before, you're defending the goal. You're in between the offender and your goal line, right? When you're marking and tracking back. Now, marking tight. What I mean by this is you're not fouling, you're not grabbing jersey, right? You're not bodying the player. Marking tightly means you're playing a little bit off of the player just enough so you can either poke in and touch a ball to one of your teammates, or you can actually just go in and take the ball from them when they make a misstep, right? If you're marking too tightly, they can maneuver and do a one touch right around you, a give and go with another player. Hence why you back off a little bit, right? And when I say back off, because you are a midfielder, the middle of the pitch, you can back off a little bit. You don't have to be high pressure. Once they cross into your third of the pitch now, that's when you really need to get up tightly on them and force them to do something with the ball. Let me say that again. Force the opponent to do something with the ball. That doesn't mean jump in and foul. That doesn't mean grab jersey. That doesn't mean grab shorts. It doesn't mean push them in the back and create a foul, giving them now an advantage. That means mark up, get tight to them, and force them to pass the ball. That's what you want to do. You want to force them to pass the ball. If they're on your side of the pitch, on the left side, you want to push them outside against that end line. The end line is your friend. Let them go that direction. As you know, if the player is right-footed, you want to push them out to the left side. If the player is left-footed, well, you want to turn from the outside now, and you want to push that player in. That way they have to use their opposite foot that is not their strength. Right? Beautiful. All right, so number 4, constant talking and listening to your teammates is the key to defense so that they know where you are on the pitch and where they want you. So in the attack, let's talk about that first. You have the ball. You're looking up around. Your teammates are talking to you, telling you where they are, or they're looking at you because most of the time everyone normally is quiet on the pitch, so that way they don't give away the free pass. Whenever you might give away the free pass. I see many times that players are yelling out, switch, switch, or I'm open, I'm open. You shouldn't be doing that. Just raise your hand because you're going to give it away. If you're on the opposite side of the pitch and your player looks across at you, just put your hand up. I'm free. Why are you yelling out? Now the whole team is going to shift towards you. Make sense? Okay. Keep that in mind. Certain times to talk on the pitch, but don't give away your positioning on the pitch to give the other team an advantage. Put your hand up, do a whistle or something like that. Most of my teammates, we all have code names for each other, or when to get the ball or something like that. You guys decide what you wish to do or how to communicate. But the yelling out, I'm open and things like that, that doesn't give you an advantage. That gives the other team an advantage. So, shut that down. Try not to do that as much. Your teammate should be looking up all the time, so they'll see the run that you're going to make. They should be able to see you open. And again, if not, raise your hand. You'll see the professionals do that as well, right? On the offense now, talking. When you're going, I'm sorry, on defense now when you're talking and you're coming back and tracking back. If you are the last person before the defensive line and the ball is coming towards you as the attackers, you should be shutting down the ball. You shouldn't be backing up as much. You need to be shutting down whoever has the ball. Force them to do something with the ball, right? Because you should be able to look around and see who's the teammate that's getting to someone fast. If that teammate isn't getting to someone fast, for instance, if someone is coming towards you and to your left side, there's another runner to support the person that's dribbling towards you, well, guess what? Turn your body and force them to the opposite side so they can't make the pass to the open person. Make sense? All right. If the ball is coming towards you, person has the ball, two people on the outside are now attacking down. Say, for instance, you're by yourself now this time. You're the last line of defense. You're by yourself. So what do? Well, there's two things you can do here. You can go towards the ball, pick when to go towards the ball, but you want to track back all the way to your 18-yard box. You want to go back to your 18-yard box and start there and making a decision. Because now you have the goalkeeper that when you step up to the ball, maybe one of those two offensive players will be offsides. But the main thing here is the ball will now be coming into the box. The keeper now can come out and take on that player to shut down that shot. So that's why you want to back up all the way to your 18-yard box before you pressure the ball if you are by yourself in defense. Okay? So just a rule of thumb there. Next, the talking. You want to talk when you're on offense. You want to talk to who's closest to you, right? If you're giving and going and moving down the pitch, there's really no talking. They're gonna see you, right? So back to signaling with your arms, a whistle, something like that is what you want to be perceiving and giving that kind of information. Back to you should be looking around 360 degrees at all times to know where everyone is on the pitch. So again, if you're attacking, if you're defending, your head is on a swivel. You should be looking around. You should always know where every single player is on the pitch, including the goalkeeper. Talking about your goalkeeper, the one behind you. You should know what's going on, because if you get in trouble and your goalkeeper is 15 yards from you, outside of the box, if you get in trouble, you know where that player is, he or she, to knock the ball back to them quickly, to run back now to receive the ball back, to get out of danger, right? If you get in trouble and you don't know where your keeper is and you just miraculously knock the ball back, well, guess what? They might not even be there to receive it, or you might knock it into the back of the goal because they're actually behind you trying to support you. So head on a swivel. Head on a swivel, right? Keep that in mind. All right, so let's talk about free kicks for a minute. Normally, as a midfielder, normally you're the one taking the free kick, right? If you're not taking the free kick, if it's not direct, indirect kick, you're either kicking the ball to take the kick, or you're the one receiving the ball to take the kick. So normally you're in that position, or you're standing next to the wall, positioning yourself, right? Because normally it's not the defenders that normally come up to be in the free kick wall. That's going to be your job, right? So now when we go to corner kicks, usually you're going to be the one taking the corner kick. Normally it's the outside wingers that might take the kick, but majority of the time it's going to be you as a midfielder taking the kick. So keep that in mind. You want to practice your corner kicks, you want to practice your free kicks, because you never know when you're called upon to take them, right? So keep that in mind. Midfielders, you guys should always be worrying about indirect kicks, direct kicks, and also crossing the ball from one side of the pitch to the other. And not just crossing the ball with your strong foot, crossing the ball with either foot. Remember, this is a two-sport game. You know, you don't use one leg to stand on, you're using both of your feet to run, right? So keep that in mind. Practice, practice, practice. A part of your game too is through balls on the ground and in the air and take on opponents. So when you have through balls on the ground to your forward line, so you're reading that run, okay? And one of my favorite players, Thierry Henry, he had said about a midfielder that he played with, Ray Parlour. And he asked he talked to Ray Parlour. Ray Parlour said, "Hey, when I kick the ball through, why aren't you running to meet it?" And Thierry Henry looked at him and he said, "No, man, when I make a run, make your pass to meet my run. That's how you should be passing the ball. It's not a matter of just kicking and someone runs onto it. You should be able to see the winger or the forward making a run, and your pass should meet the run. Not just kicking it into space and expecting them to just to run through. That's not football. That's not proper football at all. So start practicing that, okay? Start practicing that. It's a great concept, and it will, first of all, make your forward line very happy. Second, as you're passing the ball, what are you doing? Are you standing and admiring your pass? I'm seeing that a lot nowadays too. They just stand still and watch the ball just go down. No, man, as soon as you lick that ball and you get it to that forward line, whoever's making the through run, you should be taking off to make another run. Because guess what? They might be in trouble now and have to give you back the ball. You're supporting them right there on a run. Or kick the ball and go in a straight line to where you kicked it to support that particular player as well. So many different avenues there that you can see. But the main point here is make your pass to meet that person's run. Okay? All right, wonderful. We'll go on to the next topic now. You must attack to support the forward line. You have to be the defender. You have to start the attack. When you receive the ball, when in that midfield, two options. Do I shoot it up to the forward? Or should I shoot it to the center midfielder? Or do I knock it backwards? Right? But you start the attack. If you're going to win the ball, you want to go ahead and create an attack. All right? I love getting fouled. Yes, I'm going to say it out loud. I love getting fouled, because guess what? That means that player is out of position, and I did something for them to bring me down because they knew I'm going forward and I'm getting ready to start the attack. If you are not getting fouled in the game as a midfielder, what are you doing in the game? You're not making things happen. They should be following you right and left. Look at for instance, EPL. I'll take Jack Grealish. This guy gets fouled 5-6 times a game because he's making things happen. I mean, he's a wonderful player when it comes to attack, but the way he maneuvers and moves, he really does shut things down as far as the attack, and defenders have to attack him. So please practice that. Attack, 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 and make it happen for yourself and your teammates. And you have to trap back to help your defenders. You know, as being a midfielder, it's a tough position. First of all, you have to be in shape, right? You know you have to be in shape. You're a box-to-box player. But you need to really, really worry about tracking back to help your defenders, right? Because again, you start the attack. That's the outlet for them. When they get in trouble, they have you there to pass the ball to relieve some pressure from the back line. Good? All right. Stop your opponent from attacking the outside of the pitch is part of your job. All right. So as you're defending, you're outside. Like we had talked about, you have the end line there to just shut that down and make sure that no one goes past you. If you're outside, force them out. You don't want that player coming inside at all. You want to keep them out there. Force them to make a cross, force them to pass the ball backwards. Right? And then you're completely shutting down that half of the pitch. Next, decide when to attack outside or middle of the pitch. And look up. Excuse me. So look up when you're playing the ball. Look up. You have to look around, 360. You're always looking around, right? So when you are outside, you want to either shoot it to the forward line or knock it to the center midfielder, or dribble across the field if you have the space to do so, and then make that pass. Of course, now you're going to trap back to your position eventually, but if you need to assist on one side of the pitch, go ahead and assist on one side of the pitch, but make sure you trap back. That's all. It's simple football. If you go up, you need to get back. That's it. If you go up and you're standing around, that's not the way football works. You have to be moving. It's constantly moving. So head up when you have the ball. Everyone nowadays, you should know where the ball is at your feet. Why are you looking down when you're dribbling? You should not be looking down at all when you're dribbling. You should be looking up when you're dribbling. You know where the ball is. The ball is at your feet, right? So why are you looking down? You need to look up. Make that happen. Communicate with other midfielders to move around the pitch. So back to talking to each other. You know, my teammates and I, we don't need to talk when we're in the middle of the pitch to each other. We see each other. I always tell my teammate, I'm always in a straight line with you. If you ever get in trouble, if you look to the side, I'm right there, supporting. So if you're a midfielder, you should be in a straight line when it comes to that. You should always be supporting that player, right? If they get in trouble, just back up and get in a line with them. If you see them, they have space, okay, now make a run. And don't make a run towards them, because you're going to now take your defender towards them. Make a run away from them, right? And that's if they have space. If they have someone marking them tightly, well, you got to drop back and be horizontal with them again. Give them some support, right? And back to you should be looking around 360 degrees at all times to know where everyone is on the pitch. So, left midfield, push players out to the end line. You support the attack. You're using both of your feet. You can drop back in when your defender is attacking your teammate. You drop back now and take their place in support. Right? So that's how that works. So anyone that wants to be on the show, please do send me an email, uppr90plus@gmail.com. And we'll come on and talk football, talk about the position you play, or if you just want to talk football in general, we can always do that. And thank you again for tuning in. I hope this session you did learn something from, and look forward to seeing you all out there on the pitch. I know many games are coming up here in Champions League. The local MLS teams are now back up and running, so get out there and watch plenty of football. All right, and plenty of training as well. So do take care, and hope that you have a safe rest of the week. All right, bye-bye now.